Welcome to this episode of Entrepreneur Showcase Series brought to you by Patranya Media LLC and Parkway Media Partners. I'm your host, Patranya Poonswan, and today joining me from her home studio is Maggie Chu. She is the co-founder and also COO of Asian Hustle Network, AHN. Maggie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Patranya. I'm really excited to be here.
So great to talk to you. I know we've been friends now and worked together for a few years, but so much great things are happening for you, especially with your upcoming second annual Uplifted Conference right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Brought to us, of course, by the Asian Hustle Network. So first of all, I wanted to make sure people who don't know, and if, they probably have heard by now, but people don't know about AHN. Tell us a little bit about how this thing got started and how it's grown to where it is today.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Patranya. So we started AHN about 3 years ago, back in November of 2019, and this was right before the pandemic. And the reason why we started a community is because we wanted to build more representation for Asian entrepreneurs and professionals around the world. And obviously, we knew that Asian entrepreneurs and Asian community in general is very underrepresented. We wanted to bring light and focus on the stories being told in our community. And so this originally started off as a Facebook group, just as a side hobby, and we wanted to see what could come out of it. And we made the mission very clear. We wanted to create a space and a platform where people could share their stories about their entrepreneurial journey, ask questions, offer feedback, build connections, find business partners. And within the last 3 years, we've garnered our community to over 200,000 members now. And this was all online in the beginning, and people wanted to meet each other in person. So we started hosting events around the world. We obviously have hosted events in West Coast, East Coast, but it's also expanded to Australia, Korea, all parts of Asia, and really excited to see how this has come to fruition. It really goes to show that there is a need for something like this in the community. And, I think as an Asian community, we are often told we should just stay quiet, don't create any chaos, just follow the status quo. And we're often seen as like nimble and weak and quiet, but we actually want to share our stories. We just don't know where to share them, right? And so we created this community specifically for that purpose. We wanted to create a platform where people could share their stories.
Yeah, it's been really powerful. And, since I, started working with you guys and talking with you about, your mission and seeing it just kind of grown to not just across the country, but around the world, just been really inspiring. And, we have some pictures that we wanted to show from last year's event, your first annual Uplifted Conference that took place right here in Las Vegas, which now we're just a few weeks away from the second one. Talk to us about that conference, the mission of having all those people gathered there right in that industrial event space here in Las Vegas and looking at these pictures. I mean, what were you thinking back? Like, was this something that you had thought about and just seeing it come true was just really amazing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. So initially, when we started hosting events, it was just small local events in various cities. We started off in San Francisco. That was where we had originally created Asian Hustle Network. And then we kind of branched out to Los Angeles, San Jose, New York City, Boston, the DMV area. And then we figured, why don't we create a conference where, we would host it in a city where people could easily get to. And Las Vegas is just the perfect area for large events, right? Las Vegas is also a very big melting pot. I think the culture there is very diverse. There's, people of different backgrounds, ethnicity, races, all, come together in one city. And it was just a perfect place to host a conference at this scale. And so we decided to create our first annual conference. So our last one was our inaugural Uplifted Conference. We had about 300 to 400 people attend. It was just an amazing sight to see because at that time it was right when the pandemic was starting to slow down, but we weren't sure, whether or not people were comfortable with coming out to these big events. But, seeing how many people were actually willing to come out, willing to connect with others, willing to, learn from these keynote speakers. We had amazing keynote speakers like the founder of Panda Express. We had content creators like Drex Lee, Mai Nguyen. We had Linda Dong. She's another content creator. And I think a lot of people just wanted to learn and feel inspired by these Asian leaders, API leaders, and wanted to build connections with other people in the community. And so, we're very excited to kind of roll into the next year. I think it really goes to show that we do need the space to honor our achievements. I think that as an Asian community, we've gone through so much in the last couple of years, right? In the height of the pandemic, businesses closing down, and Asian-owned businesses specifically were affected largely due to anti-Asian hate crimes and just discrimination. And we've just gone through a lot in the last couple of years. And I think a lot of people just wanted to come together to really show that we are strong. We are stronger together, and we are able to kind of look back and recognize how far we've come, how much we've kind of overcome, and how we will kind of see what the future holds for us as an Asian community.
And the future really is global now, because as we speak, your partner in life and in work, Brian Pham, he is actually now halfway around the world in Asia, because he's been kind of going around and just building these events and the community of AHN, not just in the US, but globally, right? So tell us about why that is so important to get out there and make sure that this expands beyond where you started here in the US.
Yes, of course. So, obviously we started in the West Coast. We started in the United States, and that is where our largest demographic is, or where our largest presence. However, there's so many other Asian entrepreneurs outside of the United States. There are Asian entrepreneurs in Canada, Australia, Asia that we really haven't tapped into. And a big reason why we want to go out and scale and, have this global expansion is because it is possible for people to connect with others in different countries and also start businesses with them, right? We've had people in our community actually create valuable and meaningful connections with other Asian entrepreneurs in different countries. And that's how we're able to collaborate more effectively. That's how we're able to, create these cross collaborations with other organizations. And it's just such an amazing sight to see, because a lot of people have come to us and told us, without Asian Hustle Network, I don't think that I was able to, start this business with my business partner. I wouldn't have been able to meet this very, important person in my life that was able to kind of level up my business, help me level up my business, right? And so a lot of what we want to do is start localizing our content. We have a lot of content. A lot of what we do is content creation, kind of amplifying and highlighting Asian stories in our community. However, a lot of the content that we've been releasing in the last couple of years are all in English, right? And so there's a lot of Asian entrepreneurs outside of the United States, specifically in Asia, who may not, understand or may not be able to read the language. And so we want to start localizing the content and be able to expand our reach to Asian entrepreneurs outside of the United States in Asia.
Yeah, that's really important, breaking down that cultural barriers, the language barriers, because, our community is bigger than just the US, and you guys definitely realize that. So with this conference, though, coming up in April 28, 29, right? We have a 2-day event coming up that tickets are open for sale right now. People want to come wherever they are in the world, can come and join us here in Vegas, right?
Yes, that's correct. It's open to anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur or not. It doesn't matter if you're Asian or not. Everyone is welcome. And yeah, we're really excited to see everyone there to kind of celebrate Asian stories and connect and network with each other.
So what are some of the highlights for this year to get people? I know you have some great speakers that you've already booked and some great programming that you have in store, right?
Yes, that's correct. So we have some amazing keynote speakers so far. We have Michelle Wong, who is the CMO of Sprinkles Cupcakes. She will be talking about how she is practicing entrepreneurship, but also holds a 9-to-5, right? But she's also able to kind of express her creativity in her role as a CMO of Sprinkles Cupcake. We also have Sean Pan and Sharon Sung. They will be talking about how they achieved financial freedom as a couple. They're a power couple. They do real estate investments. And then we have David Zhao. He's the founding partner of Xpot and Chubby Cattle, both very delicious restaurants in Las Vegas. And he will be talking about the past, present, and future of the restaurant and F&B space. And then lastly, we have Linda Chu and Patrick Chu. They are also another power couple. Linda is the founder of Ivy Swimwear, and Patrick is in real estate construction. And they will also be talking about how to build businesses and be successful with your spouse. And aside from our keynote speakers, we will also have a majority of workshops and breakout sessions that our guests will be able to kind of break out and kind of decide which workshop they want to attend. In these workshops, we'll do a deep dive and kind of like do the nitty gritty of like how to do X, Y, and Z, right? And so this is a very educational and transformative experience for attendees. We really want our attendees to feel like they're learning something or they're gaining something from that workshop or from the event in general, right? I think a lot of what we heard as a part of our feedback from last year is that people want to feel like they gain something, right? I think it's important to note that a lot of these conferences, our guests, they learn something, or maybe they heard a keynote speaker, but they often forget after the conference what they have learned, or they often forget, who were the speakers, who were the sponsors, who were the vendors. And we really want to create an experience where we get people at our conference to get their brain juices flowing, get people to start talking, get people to start thinking, and perform more interactive activities for people to be more engaging with others at the conference. And so that's a big part of, that's a big difference from last year of what we're trying to do for this year's conference.
And what's, of course, the networking part of it, that is a key too, for people to come and meet each other, wherever they are in the country. I was there last year and I got to meet people from across the country, which was really great. Some old friends that I haven't seen in a long time, we were able to gather there. So that's really wonderful. But another new thing that I wanted to make sure you mention that is really exciting for this year is this new award that you just announced. Like we know that the people who are going to be awarded in this, but you haven't really formally put out there until the day of the event. So talk to us about that.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm very excited for the award ceremony. So this is our third annual awards ceremony or nomination. So our second annual award ceremony, actually, because our first one was last year at the conference. But this is our third year featuring 50 top 50 unsung heroes. So what we do every Lunar New Year is we send out a nomination questionnaire to our community, and people in our community can nominate others in the community who they feel should be awarded this nomination. And so what this nomination specifically is people in the community who have done great work in the community, who have really just gone the extra mile to, show support to their community members. They have a business or maybe they have a profession and they've really, done the extra work and made a great impact for either their own community or the Asian community, right? And so this is a nomination for the community by the community. And so every year we feature top 50 in our community. And at the conference, we're going to have an award ceremony. We're very, very excited about that. And at the award ceremony, we will be presenting the awards to all 50 winners and highlighting, what they're doing, how they're making an impact in their community. And this year we have 40 out of the 50 winners who will be attending the conference, which is an incredible turnout. I think last year we had 30 out of the 50 attend, but this year, I think everyone's just kind of excited to come together. So 40 out of the 50 are coming out to the conference this year.
That is really exciting. I can't wait to be there and to help celebrate, because I think this is a great way for us to recognize, all the wonderful people who've been doing just amazing things all year for especially the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And this event will align, obviously, with the start of AAPI Heritage Month in May, which is also another great time for us to talk about all the wonderful people in our community. Okay, so to wrap this up, Maggie, talk to us about how people can get more information if they want to come to this conference, if they want to support Asian Hustle Network. Where can they go?
Yes, so you can find all information about the conference at upliftedconference.com. There you will be able to find the full programming, all the keynote speakers, all the workshop hosts, as well as the tickets that will be available for sale. And then if anyone wants to support Asian Hustle Network, the impetus of it is to highlight Asian entrepreneurs and their stories, right? And so we always say that if there's any stories that anyone feels like we should highlight, there's just so many incredible small business owners and entrepreneurs and professionals and creatives out there who we probably haven't connected with. And they have an incredible story that could not only impact our community, but impact people outside of our community who could, have such an incredible outreach and just touch someone's soul. And I think that the very important thing about entrepreneurship is that when you try to sell a product, right, without a story tied to it, it's very, very hard to get your product out there, right? It's
Yeah.
hard to convince people to, purchase your product because it comes off very promotional. But when you tie your story behind it, it comes off very unique. And there may be some people, most likely there will be other people who relate to your story from an emotional level, or maybe they're going through the same thing. And that inspires people to actually want to support you, right? And so I think that's why we always say storytelling is very important when it comes to our own journeys, our own entrepreneurial stories. And so if there's anyone who feels like they want to highlight their story, or if they know of anyone who feel like who they think that should be highlighted, please let us know. And we're more than happy to do that amplification.
Awesome. Yeah. And, now you started with one story with yours, and now there are over 200,000 stories that you're working to amplify. So great work, as always, by the Asian Hustle Network. Maggie Shu, co-founder. Brian Pham is halfway around the world, but he's sending his love and support for you on this podcast. And we hope to keep this story going for you and all you're doing for the Asian American Pacific Islander and overall entrepreneur community here in the U.S. and around the world. So Maggie, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you so much, Patranya. I really enjoyed being on it.
Thank you, and good luck to you for this conference this year. And thank you so much for watching and listening. And please help us spread the word as we share more stories here on this podcast. Have a great day.